Hey friends, what's going on? So I'm doing this video super impromptu. I was about to do a little bit of midweek prep and making some homemade hummus, and I thought I would just jump on here live with you guys. And I wanted to make this a free platform. It is free, but a platform that you can ask me some questions right now while I'm doing some things. So I'm making, like I said, a homemade hummus. I love to make hummus homemade. It does take a few extra minutes, but it's so delicious, and it lasts, throughout the week, that you can use for dips and adding to your bowls and lunches. So I am making that now, and I like to make it when I'm doing some other prep at the same time. It's very quick. I'll show you how to put that together. The key thing that I really focus on when I'm doing prep is to break it up during the week. I prefer not to do it 4 hours in one day. My schedule has the opportunity for me to be able to break it up that way, which is awesome. Everybody's situations, everybody's schedules are super different. The most important thing is that it works for you. So I like to take little gaps of time during the week and make some different options for food, and I'll talk about some of the things that I'm making as well throughout the week. Another really important thing is to make sure that you are not starving when you are doing your food prep. So if you walk into this and it's like, you haven't eaten in 7 hours and you're so hungry and you're trying to prep this food, you are going to feel frustrated. You're going to be eating all the things, and then you're not even going to want to have, the meal that you prepared. So make sure that you're not starving. I like to do food prep after I've had like a decent meal or snack. I had a really good snack around like 3:30 this afternoon, so I'm feeling really good right now. And like I'm in a good place to do this food prep. So to make the homemade hummus, I am using garbanzo beans and white beans. Typically hummus is just garbanzo beans, but I like to add the ratio 1-to-1 of the cannellini beans for a little bit of a smoother texture. So it just changes the texture because of the beans. So I just rinse, I do a can each of them. I do have a recipe for this, but honestly, I just kind of go on a whim a lot of times with making this. So I'll kind of share as I'm adding this. So I'm doing the beans. I'm going to rinse them first. So I have my beans here, and I'll add this right to the food processor. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with a can of garbanzo beans. Another thing I really like to do when I am doing some prep is to listen to relaxing music. So if you despise doing your food prep, make it enjoyable. Like, do things that you enjoy at the same time. So I like to play relaxing music. I'll just make it an enjoyable experience as much as possible. Maybe try to do it when the house isn't super crazy. Okay, so I have my beans, and then I'm gonna do 1 whole lemon. And with lemons, you want them to have a very thin skin around them, so when you squeeze them, there's more juice. If they have a really big rind, a thick rind around them, that means you're gonna get less juice out of them. So that's something you wanna look at when you're buying them, to be like a little tender. And then you can definitely just squeeze these with your hands, but I'm using a juice squeezer. So I'm gonna do 1 whole lemon, see how much juice comes out of that, because the rind is so thin. And that's gonna add some nice flavor. Spraying all over. Okay, and then we're gonna do some garlic. I am doing 2 cloves of garlic. So I have one of my cloves here, and with the garlic, I just put it on there, take my knife and get the skin off that way. You don't have to chop the garlic because you're using a food processor to break this up. Sometimes I'll cut it a little bit so it doesn't stay chunky in there, but you definitely don't have to chop it very much. So then I just cut off the top part there and make sure there's no skin. And adding the garlic. So as you guys are jumping on, if you have any questions, just in general, like ask me. You're just hanging out with me while I'm making some food prep here. So here's 2 garlic. Okay, and then I'm gonna do a tablespoon of tahini. Tahini is ground sesame seeds, that's all it is. So it's like peanut butter. I am making hummus, homemade hummus, Megan. Good to see you. Team Live, how are you, Megan? I miss you. Yes, I'm doing some food prep here and I'm just sharing with you some things that I am making, but this is hummus chickpeas, cannellini beans, 2 cloves of garlic, a tablespoon of tahini, and this is gonna give it flavor and texture. So there's a lot of liquid on top. You wanna make sure that you're getting some of the actual ground part here. So just generally like a tablespoon, add it in there. Okay, and then we are doing salt. This is kosher salt, and I'm doing about, I kind of do this by taste, but I'm doing about, this is a teaspoon. I would probably say I'll do 3. I'm gonna have to taste it and see, but 3 teaspoons salt, and then adding oil. So you wanna use a neutral oil with this, and I'm using safflower oil, but you don't wanna do like an olive oil necessarily because that's gonna bring some of the flavor with that. So for this recipe, you wanna do an oil that's a very neutral flavor. I think it's like a 1/2 cup. I'm not gonna measure it. I like to do it by consistency. So as you start to make this more often, you can play around with the recipe a little bit. So I'm doing the oil, and then I also like to add chili garlic sauce. So this is usually like in the Asian section. It is essentially just chili, salt, garlic, and that's it. I add this to a lot of things with cooking. It's got a little heat to it, so you don't want to add too much. But I usually do, I think, like a couple teaspoons. And so you can definitely add this after. There's a lot of ways that you can flavor the hummus based on your preference. So if you like certain flavor style, you can add that. This is like a more basic recipe. So just putting the top on my food processor. Okay, so that is pretty good texture. I don't know if you can see that, but you just kind of, I'll stir a little bit, but the food processor does a really nice job. You want kind of like a creamy, smooth texture. And then I love to dip veggies in this. Like, it's my favorite go-to snack. If I'm cooking dinner and I'm really hungry, I'll cut up some carrots and add some hummus. It's just like such a good option. So again, that's kind of the texture we have here. I might give it another little stir. But if you feel like it's too thick, you just add a little more oil. You can add some flavoring that way. Okay, perfect. So I just throw this right in a container and I put it in the fridge and I have it for the week. Again, you can really modify this based on how you like it. Yeah, I don't really think it needs anything else. Again, you can modify how much salt you're adding, oil, but those are the main things. White beans, cannellini beans, garbanzo beans, tahini, which is sesame seeds, chili garlic, neutral oil, salt, a whole lemon. That's it. That's it. It's really simple. I mean, your kids will love it. It's such a good option. So that is one thing I was making, and then I wanted to share with you some other things that I was just making while I'm, again, doing just like a midweek prep. So I'll make whatever, a whole grain, veggies, or proteins, and have those things ready to go and cooked in the fridge. So when I have like 10 minutes to put together a meal, everything's cooked, I just have to throw it together, and it gives me a lot of variety too. So I'm gonna put together here, because I have some time, I'm gonna do some mushrooms, cut up these with some spinach and garlic, oil, chili garlic sauce. Really easy to put together. I think I'm gonna boil some quinoa to have ready to go and add some black beans. So great way to add in some plant-based protein with quinoa and the beans. Quinoa has all 9 essential amino acids, which not most whole grains do. I think it's the only one that does. So adding some good protein with that grain. And then I'm just gonna boil and blanch some broccoli. So I have that pre-cooked, and then I can throw that into stir fries or add it to other meals throughout the week. Oh, another thing I like to add is this squeezable ginger sauce to like sauteed spinach that I'm doing with the chili garlic, just for some more flavor that way. So you don't have to always have the fresh on hand. This can be a great option. I already have some proteins cooked. I grilled chicken the other night, and we have a lot of extra leftover. We have turkey burgers left over, some salmon. So I have proteins that are already cooked. So my focus tonight is to do some whole grains and veggies, and I have the hummus here for the week. So takeaways are: make food prep as enjoyable as you can, right? I realize it's not always like super fun and exciting to look forward to, but how can you make it more enjoyable? I like to listen to relaxing music. I make sure I do it when I'm not starving and irritable and hungry. My best time is in the morning. It's obviously not the morning right now, but that's when I have my best energy and focus. So that's usually a really good time for me. And then I like to break it up throughout the week, so I'm not feeling overwhelmed by having to do 4 hours of meal prep in one day. So I like to do a little bit, I would say maybe 3 times a week, and I break it up. Gives variety, gives good options. So that is my little impromptu recipe and prep idea. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I know it's dinner time, so a lot of people are in the mix of that, but I just wanted to jump on and say hi. Thanks for joining Team Live, Megan. So good to see you, and I'll talk to you guys soon.